All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Well, good morning.
We reverse the roles.
Yeah.
We reverse the roles. Peter's in Florida. I'm in Connecticut. Yay! Cool. So thanks for being with us, Peter. I know that you're kind of away, and I called you last minute and said, "Could you do a podcast with me?" And you're like, "Sure, Bill." You bailed me out. So. Yeah. Episode number 263 is called Decreasing Creative Real Estate Risk by Using the Rookie S.M.A.R.T system. And S.M.A.R.T is an acronym. S.M.A.R.T is an acronym.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you can get everything you want by doing creative real estate transactions in today's world. I believe there is only one success, Peter. That is to be able to spend your life in your own way.
True that.
Unfortunately, most have a life of one long obstacle course, with our student listeners being the chief obstacle. Always asking, what's stopping me? What's holding me down? What are the obstacles or circumstances and handicaps that keep me from success? And after doing a lot of one-on-one coaching, one-on-one free consults is really what it is, with students, I have found too many are focused on what they don't have. Fighting a consistent, exhausting battle to overcome their limitations. Never really winning because of their own attitudes about themselves and or their environment. Spending way too much time trying to climb over and break down barriers which exist mostly in our students' mind. And none of these are the path to success of being able to spend your life in your own way. This simple to apply podcast is not what other real estate gurus want you to know, only because it will kill their large incomes. So grab some paper and pencil and let's start. You're going to like this one, Peter. It's kind of right up your alley a little bit, the beginning of it.
Well, so it's a rookie S.M.A.R.T system, right? Here's my paper and pencil. Figured you might come up with some gems I need to track.
There you go. All right, Pete. I want to start off today with a big realization I had personally not too long ago. The most important goal I have in my teaching career right now is this: to have a system for my students with the main rule and belief that says this: you get paid for what you do, not what you know. You saw that last night on the meetup. I saw you smiling.
Yeah.
Right?
You've been trying to hit that, but that's well stated.
Yeah, it's nailed. I nailed it.
Yeah, that's well stated. People worry so much about, I got to know this, I got to know that. You just can't do that.
Right. No. And they're worrying about what they don't have.
Yeah, well.
Instead of what they do have, because they have plenty of resources. They have the assets. They have the ability to do this. They just skip out on the most valuable thing, what they get paid for. And that is, they get paid for what they do, not what they know.
Well, right? It sure is easier to think about it than to do it, you know?
Yeah.
You can sit there thinking, oh, someday. Then you wake up in the morning, is this someday? No, this is Thursday.
Exactly.
What did Ernest Hemingway say?
Wait a minute.
Thursday.
Wait a minute. I didn't see someday on the calendar.
Ernest Hemingway said someday never comes. Was that right? Someday never comes.
Some days not after Saturday.
There's no planet or star named Sun.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about it.
All right, so Pete, here's what I'm going to talk about before we get to the smart stuff, right? So my core belief is the word study is misused too often. Most think study is reading, right? And the fact, and in fact, think they are studying while they're reading. They think they're studying just because they're reading something. But in truth, don't read important, successful materials any different than they're reading a newspaper or a magazine.
Yeah.
Right?
Important stuff.
Yeah. So like if you want to learn how to do a job, that's you need to understand and apply and perform.
Yeah.
Right? And you're reading it no different than you would read a newspaper.
Nope.
Right? It's an interesting observation.
That's right. Not the same.
And this is not my definition of study. And what I think study is. What I think study is pure observation. That's what I think study is, right? Seeing how things work, often with very little theory.
That's true.
Right? So if you could just watch how something works and not have the theory of how it's made, you're off and running. Right? And once you see how it works, you can get some theory. Only then will the theory make sense. And application of the theory will become easy to use. Now, Peter, I want you to know that these profound thoughts come from you, from me.
Really?
Well, because you keep saying to me, I don't understand why, you do deal structuring in the meetups. That's like not in the right sequence. That's like too far. You would think that you would want to know that further into the program. Right? Like deal structuring is like not the first thing you should learn, but it seems to be what most people want to understand first. And this is the reason why. This is what I came up with after I don't know, you've been asking that question for many years.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the reason why, is because what's happening is it's a real way to study creative real estate, to see the deal structuring, to see the math. Math doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Right? So when we do math like we did last night, right? Like for example, last night we did the July monthly No Bucks meetup, right? And I got to tell you that I personally have attention on the future, which I'm not the only one that has that. But here's what I mean. What I brought up in the meetup last night is that people are overpaid for houses for a year and a half. What happens when the market swings and we get those deals in our inbox? Or messages from people that I paid $250 and now it's worth $180. What do you do?
Yeah, and they need to move. They got to go somewhere. It's not like, oh, let's sell it now.
Yeah, something's pressing on them. Yeah, right. And it's like, how much money will they lose? So I did deal structuring last night based on those premises, which I mean, I guess you could say was clever, but I wasn't trying to be clever. I was just trying to be truthful on what's going to happen next year. I mean, I'm telling you, Peter, I could do the rest of this podcast just telling you the things that have happened in the last couple of months that are very weak indicators, but add up cumulatively as strong indicators that the market is changing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're little things. We lost Peter. They're little things, but they add up. Okay? So we'll wait here for a second, wait for Peter to come back. He must have lost his internet. Easy come, easy go, huh, Peter?
I didn't touch my computer, but it went straight to YouTube by itself.
I thought maybe you were playing with one of those foot pedals like you do when you're
playing my guitar.
When you're playing guitar, yeah.
No, YouTube just went on. I'm sitting here like this. It went on by itself. Like, get out. I just got back in. Crap. I'm back.
Anyways, welcome, John. I see you're here with us. Thanks for being with us. All right, so anyways, enough of that. And before I get off into the rookie S.M.A.R.T stuff system that I was talking about, I want to add why I bring up this observation is study thing, and why the S.M.A.R.T system won't work for some students. Okay?
Yeah.
Belief.
Really?
You could think you want to do something, and you could actually convince yourself you want to do something. Like, I want to lose 50 pounds. And you could go off and look for all the shiny objects and the pills and the, no exercise, and walk 2 miles a day and think you're going to lose weight, drink 5 gallons of water a day and think you're losing weight, and come up with all of these philosophies. But if you don't actually believe that you are going to lose weight, you won't. Right?
Yep.
Here's what I'm talking about. If you observe something first, then get the theory, your belief that it works will propel you through the application of the theory. I'm going to read that again because I think that's pretty profound. Here is what I'm talking about. If you observe something first, then get the theory, your belief that it works will propel you through the application of the theory. Now, I created what we call a reluctant buyer kit, which I think I misnamed it, but the point of this kit is to introduce you to sellers in their house. Now, Peter, I don't think you've ever been in a house by yourself, right? Without me?
No, I have.
Okay.
Yeah, a few times.
You didn't start that way, though.
No.
The first time you went in a house, you and I did it together because obviously we were friends before that, right?
That's right.
Here's my point, and I want you to just take a couple minutes and just elaborate on this exact point, if you don't mind.
Sure.
When you're in the house, there's a lot of things happening. So you're walking around and you have to look at the house. You have to absorb whatever repairs, try to figure out what's missing, and have a conversation with the seller that you'll hopefully find something out you don't already know. And that's in the first 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to culminate all that, put it together, like mash it together, and then sit in the living room or their kitchen and say, okay, here's what I think is going on, and here's how I can help you, and give them some offers. So just give me some sort of a perspective, because people, when I talk about it, people, just because I've done thousands of it's like I get discredited on how I feel. I still get nervous when I go in a house sometimes. I still get nervous making phone calls sometimes. Right? So when you go into a house, when you go into a house, what does it feel like when all this stuff is happening?
Obviously, when you explained it, there's two things going on. One, you're trying to figure out the physical house itself. That's a whole house. Even if it's a condo, that's a whole thing. And you also try to figure out what's going on in this person's head. How can I get through to him? What can I say that'll make this person believe I can help them, and I can find out how to do it, which deal. Wait a minute, there's 7 deals, and there's a house, and there's repairs, and there's that loan to value, and. Right. So when I go in with you, it's we have kind of a system. I talk to the person, and you're looking at the house, and you're listening to me, and I'm just pulling data. I'm just talking, and things are coming out because people tell me stuff, and you're catching it all like, But I mean, doing that just by yourself, that's probably why you don't buy a house the first time you go in it usually.
Right.
You know, there's a bit. Can I call you back later and think about this? You know, there's a lot going on. I mean, the first deal I did by myself, I actually pulled it off, but I had to have you come and check it, make sure that wasn't off. And
I had to stop you from losing the deal because you kept talking and talking and talking. Anyways,
which is natural. A hamburger, the French fries? Can I have a hamburger, French fries, and milkshake? Sure. Would you like some chicken? No, I want the hamburger. Well, how about some pizza? No, I want the hamburger. Well, you sure you want the hamburger? Give me the. It was almost like that.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
All right.
And that turned out okay. I'm selling it next week.
Yep.
Woo-hoo!
Is it next week? It's supposed to be the closing?
Closing, 28th.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Good for you.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what I'm talking about. So if you don't go in a house and you don't observe these sellers, or at least get on the phone and talk to these sellers and observe what's going to happen, how much is the theory going to make a difference to you? Right? So suppose we were studying, I don't know, I got to come up with something here.
How about guitar?
Okay, guitars. Good.
I'll give you an example.
You do it. You do it.
So there's 2 ways people learn guitar, music, some piano, whatever, but especially like, the rock instruments, because it's not like you're in a band in school with the clarinet and the teacher's yelling at you. So sometimes people just take lessons and learn about it and learn about it and learn about it, and they do the lessons. And I check with my students, like, are you doing anything on your own? Nope. You playing with any of your friends? Nope. Just doing what I'm giving them. So how much are they absorbing? Then you got the other guy that plays for 5 years by himself, like me, by myself, just doing, learning all the Beatles songs, Rolling Stones, Yardbirds, all those guys, Hendrix, learning, doing, but like wondering, well, how does this all fit together? Getting some theory from it. But believe me, I believed because I saw it and I did it.
Right, that's a great example, because the observation is you can see the rock star on video or on TV or at a live concert playing it. So you studied, like, this can sound like this. This could look like that. Now you're going to go get the theory on how you're going to do it.
Yeah, like what it all means, and maybe you figure some of it out, some of it you don't. I have students that follow charts and play all the numbers that do this, do that. They don't even know what they're doing. They're just following numbers. Like, why don't you figure?
Okay,
what is it?
So this is really good, Peter. This is really good. I'm glad that we're doing this, because now you're saying that you got one guy that doesn't practice, you got another guy that practices by himself, right? And then we have
it's almost all theory. It's almost all theory.
So now, if you're listening, Peter's internet keeps cutting out. That's why he's chopping up. So now what's happening? Yeah, it's fine, Peter. What's happening is all that is okay, and it's good to do that. But until you get on stage and you're in front of an audience, how does it really work? How will the audience respond to your abilities?
Yep.
So what you were practicing in your room by yourself or with a band is only as good as the audience responding to you. Because I know this has happened to you, Peter. We've never talked about this, but I know, just because you were in a band, I'm sure that there was music that you guys played and then went in front of an audience, and something happened and you changed that song for the next time because of audience participation.
Yep.
Right? So So it's the same way. So how could so it's good to be like in your house and doing scripts like we're talking about and memorizing, all this stuff. When in true fact, until you get in front of your audience and you perform in front of your audience, it's kind of hard to know what's important and what's not. So Dan Kennedy, the famous Dan Kennedy marketing guy, says, let the guy with his wallet vote. In other words, your mother telling you can't do real estate doesn't matter because, she's your mom and respect her and all that stuff, but she's not the one that's going to pay you to do real estate. The seller is the one that's going to pay you with either, giving you monthly payments or giving you equity. So what you say to the seller only matters if they do business with you. And that's what you need to observe. You need to observe how you're doing that. So this reluctant buyer kit, which I have to rename because it doesn't really do it justice. I thought it was a good name, but it doesn't describe it. Puts you in a house. It has a checklist of things that you should look for in the house. It gives you 6 or 8 questions that you should ask. And at the very end, it gives you a perfect out to tell the seller, well, I probably am not going to buy this house, and see you later, thanks. So if you want to buy the house, you don't have to use that last sentence, but it gives you a way that you don't have to feel obligated at the end of the meeting to purchase the house, and then you feel stressed because you're thinking, oh, I got to buy this house. No, you don't have to do that, right?
No, I think you really need to practice. I got on the phone years ago just to practice. I didn't care if I bought the house. I knew we needed to practice. I'm a musician. You have to practice. So you have to practice everything. So just get on the phone, practice, get in the house and practice. And when you say reluctant, to me, I think you mean like kind of playing hard to get, or like you don't really need it, because people, if they go in the house being needy, that's terrible. That's a bad way to start off, buying houses like you really need it.
Right.
You want to be like, you don't need it. I got other ones. I don't need to do this. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, see you later, buddy. So I think that's what you mean when you say reluctant.
Yeah, I have to change the name of it. But Peter, I'm gonna drop a bomb right now, okay? That I don't have written down. But I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell my listeners right now how you can buy a lot of houses. And this is too simple, so people will discard it. But here you go. You ready? In a sentence.
Ready.
In a sentence. You need to overcome your neediness and find out what their neediness is. And then you'll buy houses. You need to overcome your neediness and find out what their neediness is, and then you'll buy the house. And then, of course, give it to them. And that's how you buy houses. And what I'm talking about right now is that. It's like you need to overcome your neediness. You have to overcome that noise in your own mind. Okay? All right, let's move on because none of this was on the agenda. Which is why I enjoy being with you, because it provokes conversation. Okay, so I'm going to just start from the paragraph I last read and just keep going. So here is what I'm talking about. We're talking about belief. You got to believe that it's going to happen, right? And here's what I'm talking about. Because too many times what happens is you'll think to yourself, I really wish I could have, a motorcycle. And then the first thing you'll think is, I wonder how I'm going to get it. So it's like one thought is the counter thought to the other one. And it eliminates it. Instead of just saying, I wish I could have a motorcycle, or it would really be nice to have a motorcycle. And just put it there and say, I wonder how it's going to come. I wonder how it's going to show up. I wonder who's going to give me a motorcycle. I wonder how this is going to work out. And be curious about it. It's a whole different way of thinking, right? So here's what I'm talking about. If you observe something first, then get the theory, your belief that it works will propel you through the application of the theory. It is a knowingness that you can actually have the object or condition you desire. That's belief. The knowingness that you can actually have the object or condition you desire. This belief in burning desire will naturally and comfortably help you progress toward your wanted goal. So if you don't have this, if you don't have this belief and you don't have what we're talking about, then the goal is useless. It's kind of like having a car without any gas. Right?
So you're saying if people just keep studying and studying and studying, it won't happen just because they keep studying?
Exactly. Which is why there's a philosophy I want students to use from this day forward. And this is pretty cool. It's called an RSVP to the invitation of being able to study real estate so you can be able to live life in your own way. So RSVP means, R means read, S means study, V means visualize, and P means perform. RSVP. So we're going to go through those real quick. So read to learn and perform. When you're reading something, learn to perform. Like, how can I perform this? How can I actually act this out? It's kind of like an actor with their lines, right? So when an actor reads the line, they don't just read it. They're thinking, how can I play this? How can I make this? What emotions and what body motions and, how much drama or not drama? Do I need to yell? Do I need to be quiet? Do I need to whisper? How am I going to do this? How am I going to perform this line? They're not just reading it, right? They need to perform it. Not like you're reading a newspaper, right? So you're gonna read to learn and perform. Not like you are reading a newspaper. Reading allows you to be introduced to other people's experiences of performing what you want to do. So reading allows you to get other people's experiences of performing what it is you want to do. Okay? Mm-hmm. Study.
Right.
Study. So the next one I'm going to study is study by observation, and don't do it with performing the task as the top of your mind. Right? So you're just studying it, you're just observing it, you're not trying to figure out how it works or anything like that. You're just looking at the end result. In other words, you're looking at the ideal scene, like how you would like it to be. And then you reverse engineer it from there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Next is V, which is visualize. So what you want to do is you want to visualize in concrete form with details, like a motion picture on a hidden screen in your mind's eye. Okay? So those are unique to you. Those pictures are unique to you, and nobody can stop you from seeing them or thinking about them, and nobody will even know that you're watching them unless, in fact, there's a lot of motion pictures on people's screens in their minds that make them do things they don't even know about already. They're watching that screen already, and they don't even know it. They're doing things, and they don't even realize they're watching that screen with their mind's eye, right? Now, here's the point that I want to make here. This is far more than imagination. Visualization is more complete and detailed with a touch of reality. Okay. These are just side notes, by the way. So performing is next. So performing is really the scientific way to actually achieve what you have studied, or in your real estate system, doing the steps so many folks before you have done successfully. Which is the reason why I say you get paid to do, not to know. In the beginning, and last night at the meetup, I went through an entire system that if you just followed what I did in 90 minutes or 2 hours, you don't need to know anything. You just observed what I did last night and you just did what I showed you. You could do deals. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to have some special skills. You don't need to be me. You don't need to be somebody, you don't need to have a Yale education. You don't need any of that stuff. You just do what I showed you in the meetup last night, and you could do it. I mean, I did the whole thing. You saw it, Peter. I did the whole thing. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So enough of that. Let's get down to business of what I promised, which is why my definition. Now, this is kind of tying everything together. Which is why my definition of success is this: doing more right things than wrong. Right. So if you
I like that one.
If you do, not read, not study, if you do more right things than wrong, you have success. So you get paid to do things, not know them. Now, you will need theory. I'm not saying that you have to do everything stupidly, but in the beginning, especially in my system, if you start doing some rent-to-owns or some slot deals, it's already figured out for you. It's not hard. I mean, how hard is it? Well, let's put it this way, Peter. I was on a one-on-one consultation with somebody the other day, right? And they were kind of like, questioning it. So I said to him, he's a young guy, he's like in his mid-20s. I said to him, where do you live right now? He goes, oh, I have an apartment. I said, oh, did you sign a lease? He goes, yeah, I have a lease. I have a 1-year lease. Okay, good. You're trained. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, that's what you're going to do with your seller. Exactly what you did with your landlord. What do I need to teach you? Go sign a lease with your landlord, except say to him, hey, at sometime within a 2-year period, I'd like to buy this place for like $150,000. Can you let me do that if I come up with the money? Sure. That's it. You're trained. He was like, really? I'm like, totally. You're trained on how to do a slot deal, an option deal, and a rent-to-own deal. There's 3 out of the 7 deals you're already trained for. So what do you need to know? So you go rent it from your landlord, and then you go find a buyer that will sublease it from you, and you just reverse the lease so they're signing it with you instead of you signing it with them, and you're done. How hard is this? Just go do it. He's like, you're right. I'm like, I know. And he's off, right?
Yeah.
All right. Knowing all of this, you will find performing the SMART system will be truly rewarding to you. So I'm going to give you that before we end off here in the next 10 minutes, so you know how to apply this. This is where you might want to use your pencil and paper and write this down, because this is important, okay? So before I tell you this, I have a little saying I want to tell you here, okay? Because this is profound. Sure. As far as I'm concerned, this is profound. You ready?
Go ahead.
Give me a stock clerk with a goal, and I will give you a person who will make history. Give me a person without a goal, and I will give you a stock clerk. Okay, I'll repeat that. Give me a stock clerk with a goal, and I will give you a person who will make history. Give me a person without a goal, and I will give you a stock clerk. SMART goals, here they are. So SMART is an acronym. In other words, the first letter of each word spells its own word, which is SMART, S.M.A.R.T. So here's what the words mean. SMART. S stands for specific. M stands for measurable. A stands for achievable. R stands for realistic. And T stands for timely. So I'll do that again. S stands for specific. M stands for measurable. A stands for achievable. R stands for realistic. T stands for timely.
Timely?
Timely, yeah. Did you get it? Timely, yeah. Okay, so let's start with specific. A bad example would be, I would like I would like to make money investing in real estate. That's a bad example.
Yeah.
It's
Not
too
specific.
Yeah, it's too vague and ambiguous and doesn't inspire action. That's the main thing. It's not specific enough to inspire action.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A specific goal would be I would like to earn $4,000 a month from my single family lease option deals. That's specific. This is much cleaner, much clearer.
Yeah.
Okay. Or if that's too long term, in other words, like you're looking for something that you can do right away, because I will tell you, Peter, I do this. I don't think you and I have ever talked about this, but I do this because I'm a freak and I understand that. I used to make annual goals. I don't do that anymore. I make my goals on 3 months because my attention span can't go longer than that. Hell, I can't go longer than 3 weeks. That's why I write them down.
I'm impressed with anything that starts with 3.
Say it again.
I'm impressed with anything that starts with 3.
Yeah, exactly.
I just yeah, Emma and I tease Bill. Bill, what are you starting today? What's the new thing today?
Exactly.
But you settled down. You know, you've been at this so long. You found the things that work, and it's a great relief to me because I can't keep up with you every time you change into something new. I'm always lagging behind, but you've really settled into very systematic, something that works. It's not going to change. It's like kind of stable to me because it can adjust to the environment. All the stuff can adjust to the environment. So the changes are within a framework of stable information that can be used. And there's going to be a whole new crazy thing tomorrow. I like it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
but you do 3.
Just realize
3 months makes sense.
Yeah. Just realize that I use these SMART goals. I mean, you're going to see in a minute why. I make sure that my goals encompass all of these things. But yeah, okay. I try not to make goals for more than 3 months. Matter of fact, I was a banshee at buying online stuff, because I was dying to learn how to run my online business. And for 10 years, I've spent, I don't know how much money, tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars. And I still don't feel like I'm good at it. Well, here's what I did, is I put this policy in. If I buy something and I can't implement it in the next 2 weeks because my schedule won't allow me to, I just don't buy it. So I'm telling my audience that because I don't want them. I want them to do the same thing with my stuff. If you don't think you can implement it in the next 2 weeks, then don't buy it, because you'll forget about it. Because in 2 weeks from now, you'll be in a whole different headspace and you won't even be thinking about it. You'll have different problems, different environment, different whatever. Right? So, yeah. Right. So. This is a much clearer goal. Now, if the term is too long, like I want to make $4,000 a month from single family houses, which is a good overall strategy, you could do something like this, right? It could be, I will talk to 3 new sellers per week and evaluate their situation. Because in creative real estate, we need to do the discovery stage. So why not talk to 3 new sellers this week and do the discovery stage with them and figure out what their situation is so we can prepare to make an offer. Okay? There goes Peter again. So that's what happens is if you just make a goal, right, that's specific, then you'll hit your target. Okay. Okay, Peter's back. Much better, Peter. We can see you now.
I swear to God, it was YouTube again. I got attacked by YouTube.
All right, good. So we're going to move on to measurable, okay? So measurable Go ahead.
Hey, Bill, you see me, but I don't see you. I'm trying to get back in. I'm not seeing you, but I know you're there.
Yeah, I'm here. It's
Okay.
probably on the bottom of your screen. If you
No, I have my icon that opens it up. It's not opening up right now.
Okay, well, we can see you. So
Okay, keep going then.
let's just keep going. Unless you really miss me that much, you want to see my mug.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Oh, God, now I see you too. All right.
All right, measurable. The old adage is true. What you measure, what you manage, I give that to you again. The old adage is true, that you manage what you measure. The old adage is true. You manage what you measure. So by assigning or naming a number to your goal, you can track where you are and how far you have to go. So if you make the goal right now that you want to make you want to talk to 3 new sellers a week and evaluate their situation, aka the discovery stage, then you can measure, well, I'm not doing any right now, or I'm only doing 1 every other week. You know where you're at and you know how to fix it. And you know when you excel it, because once you hit your goal, you'll change it, which we're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay? Achievable. Okay, that's the A part of the SMART formula. Achievable. Once you set a goal with a clear and believable target, remember what I talked about earlier. You have to believe it. You can't just say it. You can't change it. You know how recently, Peter, especially in my new book, Breaking the Monopoly, I speak about a lot. You were the one that figured this out. The law is speak to motivated sellers, not make motivated sellers. The trick is that a lot of listeners will take a suspect and try to change their motivation. What you need to do is you need to talk to enough people so their motivation matches what you want to do. Changing somebody's mind is not an easy thing. I mean, we both have spouses, and I know that we talk about it personally together about sometimes what our wives want to do, and we're like, I don't want to do that, right? So sometimes you just can't change somebody's mind, right? So why are you trying to do that with yourself? Why are you trying to change your mind, change your life, No, you got to believe it. When you believe it, everything else falls in place. Your desire to want it changes. So it's got to be achievable. Once you set your goal with a clear and believable target that is possible for you to perform without many distractions of knowing too much or more than you know now, it is likely you will achieve more. Like I said, when I was on the phone with this client the other day, and I said to him, where do you live now? Well, I have an apartment. So did you sign a lease with your landlord? Good. Yes, good. You're trained. He already knows that. Now, is there more to know? Yes. But that's all he needs to do right now to start, is go find somebody and do that with them, that you're not going to live there. Instead, you're going to sublease it and get somebody else to live there. What do you need? Now it's not a matter of knowing anything. It's a matter of just doing it. You already know enough, right?
Yeah, you can't know the whole thing. The only way that I was able to get started, and I'm not a braver person. I don't like to throw myself in harm's way or do insane things. No, I'm not that brave. I think that's foolhardy. I was willing to do the first step, though. I said, if I can do the first step. When I figured the first step, I figured the next one. Imagine dating a girl and having to know everything that would be happening and if you're going to marry her and how many kids you're going to have on the first date. Forget it. Just take the date. Go see the movie and just knock it off. Just enjoy the movie and then see what happens tomorrow. Take it easy.
Or you find out her brother's a psycho or a serial killer or something like that later on. You're like, what? I'm out of here.
Yeah, the door's open.
How many times have you heard that? Let's be guys for a second here. We're going to piss the girls off. But man, she's a hot chick, but boy, she is psycho. How many times have that happened?
Yeah, well, that's our excuse because we didn't get her.
Peter, put it bling. Yeah, you saved the day.
Yeah.
All right. Remember what I said earlier, Peter. Study is observation. In the beginning, you will set a goal like evaluating 3 new seller situations per week, and then you'll learn from those observations. And you'll know what your next step is because you're observing what happens when you say, Mr. Seller, would you be willing to take monthly payments until I can pay you off? Right?
Yeah.
Being realistic. Okay? Being realistic. So we're on to realistic now, right? Being realistic. Don't be pie in the sky with your goals. I hear this too often. Like right now, you don't even know who to call. And you set a goal of, I'm going to call 15 sellers this week. Don't do that. Instead, make your target stretchingly realistic. Like, I'll talk to 3 new sellers this week and see if I can figure out or evaluate what their problem is. It's stretchingly realistic. What's real? Well, what's real is I can maybe call one person. If I just call one person, I can break the ice. Well, stretchingly realistic would be, well, then I'll do 3. Okay? And if you want to get fired up and juiced up like a rocket, go read Grant Cardone's 10X Rule book. That'll fire you up on making goals and what they should be. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I know for a fact, because I coach people all the time and I have friends and I talk to people and I'm not trying to be a know-it-all, but I'm going to tell you that people's potential, what they think their potential is a lot less than what it actually is. If you think you could do 1 transaction a year, it's probably more like you could do 10. And that's what Grant Cardone's book, 10X Rule, does, is it opens your eyes up to what your potential could be. It's a great book. I read it once a year. It's a fantastic book.
It's funny you mention that. I'm reading one of his books now.
Yeah? Which one?
Yeah. Actually, it's one about multifamily and apartments.
Sold or be sold?
No, it's one about apartments. I forgot the title. It's like real estate investing, but he focused on multifamily. I just grabbed it on my trip because I had never read it. But I want to get the other ones, like the 10X Rule. I haven't read that one.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing book. It's an amazing book.
Well, that's important for me. I don't do tons of deals a year. I do something every year, but not tons. So if I apply that and just do what I've done and multiply that a little bit, I'll be in really good shape.
Good.
So that sounds like a good idea.
All right, good. So let's move on because we need to get out of here. So timely is the next one. So timely. So Peter, I have a question for you because you're the one that's got the high IQ around here because I believe you're the smarter one of the two of us. And I'm not joking because he's like super literate and all this kind of stuff, right? So here's a question. Deadlines. Imagine your high school teacher telling you to do your homework assignment without a deadline. Would you have ever graduated high school?
Whoa, no. No, sir.
You would have been playing your guitar, playing in the band. You would have been all doing whatever. No, on that homework. There is no deadline. I can do it tomorrow.
No, it's not due till, I don't know.
When I feel like it.
No.
What did you say? Someday.
Yeah,
not Sunday, someday.
Someday, yeah.
All right.
My grandfather used to tease my mother. They were American. She was American. They went to Italy. She kept asking, when are we going back home? He said, in the month of May. And he thought, she thought he was saying May, but in Italian, Mai is never. So So it's like the someday thing. It's like never. And she's thinking, what? May came and went. And she's still stuck in Italy. Through the war and everything. Was that's what you mean by timely? And I was wondering where you're going with timely, but the deadlines.
Yeah, deadlines.
But Bill, nobody gives us deadlines. Nobody gives us deadlines.
How about this one, Peter? How about this one? You go to the grocery store and you look at the expiration date on some food that you want to buy, and it's last month. Are you going to eat that food? Are you going to eat that food? Peter,
I don't know. Is it discounted?
Mr. Health Food himself, is it discounted? Yeah, right.
On sale?
So deadlines are vital. Come on. I don't have to say much about that, right? Otherwise,
but how do we do it to ourselves though?
You just pick a time when you say, I got to get it done by this time. My birthday or Labor Day, or, I want to give this as a gift to my wife. I did that once. I want to give my wife a picture, not the check, a picture of the check that I'm going to make from this house. Or
man, you need to work on your presence.
Or you could just say, May, yeah. So, I just did this with my wife. We just bought some expensive timeshares, and I'm like, I'm just now, because both my daughter's birthday, one is in June and the other one is in July, and Jesse's birthday is actually today, believe it or not.
And it is. Happy birthday,
Jesse's birthday is today. It's her 30th birthday. Yes. So, believe it or not, I've been talking to her about the reason why I bought these expensive, because they were expensive timeshares, they're Marriott vacation timeshares, is because I want to take her and the family on vacation. I want to take my whole family, my adult children, on vacation every year. So that's why I bought them.
Yeah.
And she was here yesterday, and it was exhilarating to talk about what we're going to do when we're on these vacations. Right? But here's the thing. There's a deadline. I have to book these things, and I got to do all this stuff, right, before I could do that. My point is if you're going to do real estate, there's a reason why you want to do real estate. Like you want to go on vacation, or you want to pay a bill, or you want to do something with the money or your time. Like I want to help my dad because he's ill, or I want to stay at home with my daughter because they need some attention. So you have to put those deadlines there on what's comfortable. Now, remember, if you go back to achievable, right, you have to make it so that you believe it's the greatest good. So you and I believe, I know because we talked about it, how do you make a good decision? A good decision is the greatest good for the greatest number involved. Right?
Yeah.
So if you're making a goal and it could help as many people as, in your environment, or as many people as you want to help. You and I know a lot of religious people that want to do charities and help communities and like missions and all that kind of stuff. So, it could be something like that. So imagine if you were going to do a mission, we'll say, just because it's easy to talk about, and I'm not picking this for any other reason but it's random, but you want to go to a place in Africa with hungry children.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't pick a deadline, how long could they wait for you to get that food?
Oh, geez.
You know what I mean? It's important to pick a deadline. Right? So deadlines are huge. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I want you to take today's podcast, the S.M.A.R.T system, and what we talked about, because it was a profound podcast, and I would like for you to write out your goals using this S.M.A.R.T system. Okay? I'd like you to write them out. In other words, write out a specific goal that is measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely, and send it to me on a support ticket. Let me read it and acknowledge it and help you tweak it. Now, obviously, I'm not a life coach. I want it to be about real estate. But if you have other goals you want me to look, I will look at them. I'm just not making a promise with them. I might have to get my wife involved because she is a business coach. So maybe I can, if it's something other than real estate, I can share with her and see what she thinks. But the point is, take today's podcast and actually do it. You get paid to do it, not know it. Okay? If you do that, my monthly podcast that we were talking about, the No Bucks monthly podcast, is the replay normally costs $10, $9.97. If you send me your goals, I will send you a link to that podcast. I'm sorry, I'm saying podcast. The No Bucks meetup. I will send you the link to that will actually show you how to do a deal. I will send you what I did last night. So how do you do it and not know it? I will send you the link to that No Bucks meetup so you can watch it or listen to it if you send me your goals. So send the SMART goals to me in a support ticket. I will critique them and review them. And if you were not on the No Bucks, or even if you were on there, and you want the link of like how to do it, like where to go, find leads, and what to do, we covered it all last night. Okay? I will send you that link for free. Okay? If for some reason you feel like you need to practice on the reluctant buyer kit, what I've done is I put that link inside the description of this podcast, either on Facebook, on YouTube, or whatever podcast platform you're in. The link to the Reluctant Buyer Kit is there if you want to go check it out and you want to grab it. There's also a link in there to do a 45-minute one-on-one consultation with me. If for some reason you want to dig into your goals a little bit deeper, I will spend 45 minutes on the phone with you, just you and I, or on a Zoom call, whichever you choose. And you and I will talk about your goals and see if they are correct and in alignment and all the things that we talked about today. I actually have 9 questions, which I'm probably going to do on my coaching group this week. I have 9 questions to ask you to make sure your goals are correct. So if you do a one-on-one consultation with me, I will go over those 9 questions with you to make sure that the goals are correct and they're really going to work. Okay? All this is for free. And why do I do this? Because obviously I'm going to talk to you on my schedule, not on your schedule. You're going to go in there, and I have certain times of the week that I normally do these calls on, and it's around my real estate transactions, and I like to help people. It's just pure karma. Were you going to say something, Peter?
Nope.
No? Okay. So go ahead, click on the link. You could get in the description, you'll see the link for the Reluctant Buyer Kit, and you'll see the one-on-one free consultation. If you want to go over the goals, the SMART goals we're talking about, even if you don't send them to me, I'll ask you what are the SMART goals, and then there's 9 questions I can ask you to make sure that these goals are correct, that you've thought about everything you need to think about when you set these goals, and that they're realistic and they're doable goals. And if they're not, while we're on the call, you can adjust those goals, and you could realign them so they work better for you. Okay. But most importantly, I'm going to promise you this: if you do a 45-minute one-on-one consultation with me, you will believe by the end that these are the right goals for you. And that's my promise to you. So go ahead, go to the description, click on the free consultation or the Reluctant Buyer Kit, and let's have at it and make sure you're doing the right things. Okay? Peter, thank you so much for being here. You were gone for a couple weeks, and I missed you, and you're going to be gone for some more weeks, and we're going to have some stuff. I actually have, Peter, the last minute I want to talk about this. I actually have decided that I'm going to create a contest.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so the contest was originally like the person that goes to a house and talks to a seller the most in the course of 2 weeks would win. But I realized that that's too steep of a gradient. I don't think I'm going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a contest, and it's either going to be 14 days or 30 days. I haven't decided yet. But the person that talks to the most amount of sellers in a 14-day period, I'm actually going to if they're willing, the winner, the top 3 winners of people that are going to win it, I'm actually going to put them on this podcast and do a one-on-one consultation with them for 45 minutes on what it's like to talk to those sellers and actually help them. And if they have a transaction, I'm going to actually coach them on the podcast live while everybody's listening to them. I'm going to actually coach them on how they can put that deal together, the actual offers they can make on the podcast. Okay? And all you need to do is you need to have a camera and a mic, just like what Pete has, and we'll do a 45-minute consultation with you right on the podcast so everybody else could hear, and you'll be famous on the podcast, I guess. Okay? So that's a great idea.
That's a great idea because you're not only helping that person, but everybody else watching can see what it's like for a newbie to get going and what advice you give him. That'll help all the other guys watching too.
Exactly. So I'm gonna be releasing that on my email list. So if you're not on my email list, just go to the Flipping Houses for Rookies page and go to the first on the page to the course. You can sign up for a free course that says I forgot the name of the course, but it's the deal making 101 course next to the Pretty Girl, or just go to the free stuff page and sign up for anything there. And you'll be able to you'll be on my mailing list, on my email list. And I'm going to release that here in another week or so, and release that contest and get it going. And then whoever the winners are, you're going to have to send me support tickets with some sort of evidence that you talked to some people, like their names and their addresses, so I can actually go look at the addresses of the houses. I guess we could have some people actually put in some fake submits, but once I talk to you on the podcast, I'm going to know whether or not you're lying to me or not. So you're going to have to be honest. Okay? All right, Peter. Over and out. Thank you so much. I appreciate all your help. I appreciate 260-something podcasts with you. You're a true friend, and you've stuck it out you're a true friend of mine and our listeners. You've stuck it out with us the whole way. So well done.
Feel the same way. Now I have something smart to do today.
There you go. Over and out.
Let's see if Mary thinks it's smart to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's his wife, Mary. All right, we're done.